Hello, I am Chef Marcus Guiliano, and welcome to Chef on a Mission podcast, episode number 75. The easiest way to eat healthy. This is by far the easiest way to eat healthy. I'm going to tell you something that will crack the code. It is better than willpower. It is the thing that works. Before I jump into that, this is brought to you by Aroma Time Bistro, 165 Canal Street in Ellenville, New York. It's been my certified green restaurant. We opened in 2003 here in the Hudson Valley. We're 90 miles north of New York City, featuring farm-to-table cuisine, real food, real ingredients, and a fantastic bar. If you're ever up in the Hudson Valley in the Catskills, stop in and see us. And if you want to travel on wine regions throughout Italy, the United States here, especially New York, and in Mexico, Valle de Guadalupe, we do amazing wine tours, boutique wine tours where Jamie and I accompany you, you accompany us, and we take you to our friends' wineries in these amazing regions. Our next scheduled trip is Valle de Guadalupe in April of 2022. Check out bestmexicanwinetours.com, or you can go right to VIP wineryvacations.com and you will see everything there, all the trips, all the regions. And if you're in the Hudson Valley and you're looking for a tour, we have a great option here. It's your car, our driver. And that's also on the VIP Winery Vacations website. Your car, our driver, our fully licensed and insured drivers show up to you, drive your car throughout the Hudson Valley, take you wherever you want to go. Wineries, brews, distilleries, dinner, points of interest, they will take you there, and it's an amazing day. It is the most affordable and flexible way to tour wineries, breweries, distilleries here in the Hudson Valley. All right, now let's talk about the easiest way to eat healthy. And this is truly the easiest way, folks. This is actually the easiest way to do anything in life. Several years ago, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I read a book by Benjamin Hardy. Is it Benjamin Hardy? Benjamin Hardy. I read a book by Benjamin Hardy called Willpower Doesn't Work. Discover the hidden keys to success. Willpower does not work. And this is true with everything, whether it's just diet, lifestyle, exercise. It's true with everything in life. Professional work, everything, right? So works with your friends and everything. And where this works with everything across the board. So before I read this book, this was how Jamie and I raised our kids to eat healthy. This was the exact way we raised our kids to eat healthy. Not reading this book prior, but once we read the book, we're like, this makes sense, and this is how it is. So willpower doesn't work. And a lot of people say, well, I have great willpower, you know, or somebody says, oh, that person has great willpower. And there's always more to it than willpower. Environment is key. Environment is the deciding winning factor. Who you surround yourself with, what you put in your environment, what you subject yourself to in your environment. And for your kids, this is so true, because when your kids are young, they are molded and formed by all the actions that accumulate throughout, those young years, can shape their whole life. So, for example, if they're used to having a bowl of fruit on the table, they're taking advantage of that fruit, they're going to have a bowl of fruit on their table as adults for their kids. If you don't have Oreos in your house, chances are they're not going to have Oreos in their house. A lot of people say, well, my parents never drank soda, so I never drank soda. You hear that a lot from people. Well, my parents never did soda. My parents ate fried chicken every Sunday, and now I eat fried chicken every Sunday. It's a tradition, family tradition. We eat fried chicken. Oh, for me, it was lasagna every Sunday. I grew up eating lasagna every Sunday. That was the Italian family meal. No matter if you were by yourselves at home with your immediate family, or you went to grandma's or whatever, it was always lasagna. So these kinds of traditions or this environment holds up. So our kids never had the opportunity to come home and pick between Oreos and apples. They never had that opportunity. A lot of people, they give their kids the choice. Oh, there's Oreos in the cabinet. There's Frosted Flakes in the cabinet. There's soda in the refrigerator. I don't understand why little Johnny is not drinking more water and eating more fruit. Well, because you've created an environment to give him a choice. And if willpower doesn't work and it's the environment, then little Johnny, or yourself included, is going to gravitate towards those other things. And you and I, we're older, we're adults, we know the difference between an Oreo and an apple, but we're going to be tempted to grab that Oreo, and we might grab that apple 3 times and grab that Oreo every 1 time for every 3 times we grab the apple. But imagine if the Oreo cookie wasn't there. If the Oreo cookie wasn't there, we could never ever grab the Oreo cookie. We'd always grab the apple. And so we, in our house, when the kids grew up, there was no junk food. I'm not saying there was no sugar, but we had things that were very balanced. So for example, if by chance there was a cookie, it was what Jamie had made from organic whole grains. She made it vegan always. She made it with maple syrup. And so our kids were just used to, this is the kind of cookie we have once a month or every 2 weeks. When Jamie made a batch of cookies, this is what she made. When she made banana bread, this is what she made from the frozen bananas. She made a whole grain or gluten-free or whatever it was. And this is it. But in the meantime, the bananas are sitting on the counter and we're eating the bananas most of the time. And there were no little Debbie snack cakes in the in the cupboard. My parents, for the most part, created the environment of better food. But however, when I went to the store and I pointed out, I want a little Debbie snack cakes, they would buy them. They would buy a couple other things. They would buy Frosted Flakes. And back then, we didn't know as much as we knew now about nutrition. We didn't have the power of the internet to look up ingredients. We didn't have the awareness of, how bad really are Frosted Flakes. And some people knew back then. Some people were totally into the, organic granola and that whole movement. And they were totally into that. And they knew. But for the masses of people, they just didn't understand. And, Frosted Flakes, it has some vitamin C in it. And they brought it home and put it in the cabinets. And that's what the kids had. But my parents also had grape nuts. And I ate a lot of grape nuts as I was a kid. And let me tell you something today. If there was a box of grape nuts next to a box of Frosted Flakes, and I was in a hotel or an Airbnb staying overnight, I'd go for the grape nuts, because that for me was part of the mainstay of me as a kid, as part of what I grew up on was grape nuts. And my mom really tried to watch the sugar, and she really didn't buy much soda. But when she bought soda, it was there and we drank it. Now, when our kids were little, we never bought any soda. We bought maybe sparkling fruit juices. We bought certain things, but the bottom line is here, even if you don't have kids at home, if you're contemplating this now, like for me, work here, this is my desk here. If I have a bowl of mandarins, I'm going to eat those right here. If Jamie walks over and brings her banana bread that she just made yesterday, puts it on the edge of my desk, I'm going to eat the banana bread, because it's my environment. If I stuck a whole big thing of water on my desk here, 64 ounces of water, I'm going to drink that all day. If the water is not on my desk, I'm not going to say it's too hard for me to get up, go next door and pour water and have a glass and come back. But when it's in your environment, folks, and it's in front of you and you can grab it without changing the pattern of what you're doing and your thought process, that's huge, huge. When you take water with you in the car and you go all day without water, you're going to drink it. If you had to stop at a gas station every time you wanted a little bit of water, or stop where I'm getting a little bit of water, you're going to do that. If you decide to make organic coffee at home, sweeten it with a little maple syrup, add a little almond milk, and make yourself some kind of latte at home and put it in a container and stick that in your car and drive down the road, you're not going to stop at Starbucks for a coffee. If you're going to make your own and keep it in your car. All right. But if you don't have the ingredients at home to do it, you don't have the coffee machine, you don't have the ingredients, you don't have the almond milk, or you don't have whatever, you're going to drive into Starbucks and make it easier. You're going to do things. Human nature is to do things as easy as possible. We love to take shortcuts. Our brain loves to take shortcuts. It's just a defense mechanism of survival. How we've learned to skip thinking processes and make things super easy for us. And your environment If you can change your environment, alter your environment, you can totally change your diet, your lifestyle. This goes with your friends as well. If you're around people that are working out a lot and you have a lot of friends that are runners, you will run more. If you have a lot of friends that are lazy, you will be lazy more because that's your environment. If you have a lot of friends that are broke, you will be broke more. If you have a lot of friends that are millionaires, online marketers that are this, you will form yourself around those friends. So it's never a bad idea to create that environment of positive influences as well around your environment besides your diet. So it works with everything, which is a really, really cool part about this. So your environment. So if you're at home and you do have kids and you are concerned about raising them healthier, start weeding out the products, start weeding out the Oreos, start whatever they are, start weeding them out and replacing. Now, some of you say, well, my kids will never eat that. My kids will never eat that. When kids always came over to our house for our kids' friends, they would always devour the fruit. They would always devour and exotic fruits, star fruits, mangoes, pomegranates, things like they don't even have, some of them have no fruit at home. Some of them have fruit at home, but they have the basic apples, oranges, and bananas. They come to our house and, oh my gosh, I've never had a mango before. And then they come to the house, I want more mangoes. I want more mangoes. I want more mangoes. I want more of this. I want more of that. So it's easy. Kids are very easy to form into this, but they didn't come to our house because there were Oreos in the cabinet. They were coming, they were eating the fruit that was on the counter. It was accessible. It was easy in front of them. And they opened the cabinet. There were no Oreos. So there was no option. And we were always known for the family that had a bunch of fruits in the house, a bunch of cool fruits. And they'd go home and tell their parents, oh, I had mangoes. I had this, I had that. I had passion fruit. I had something, persimmons. And persimmons, we had lychees. Lychees were like one of those most amazing fruits ever that are in season in the spring. Lychee nuts, those round, they're softer on the outside, but they have like a thicker skin. You pop them and you eat that, and there's a pit inside, and they're super sweet. You see them at Chinese restaurants a lot in the buffet line at the buffet restaurants, and they're lychee nuts. They're in corn syrup. They're not like a pure like fresh lychee nut. But if you buy them in the springtime, in May they're in season. April, May, June, you can find them. And Justin and Courtney would eat a case of them a day because that's what we had at home. You bring those home, and that's what's there, and that's what they ate. So, folks, set your environment up for success. Stop thinking that willpower is the only way to do this, because again, some of you are great at willpower. Some of you are better than others. Some of you can look at the Oreos, you can look at the apple and say, I'm going to eat the apple all the time. But you'll never have to do that question. You'll never have to do that if you don't put yourself in that environment. You know that AA alcoholics, they say don't go into a bar. Don't put yourself into that environment. Don't put yourself at the risk of sitting at a bar and saying, gee, I'm going to have a beer, a whiskey, or I'm going to order water or soda, because that's a lot to the willpower is a lot right there to be able to do that. Some people can do it, but a lot of people can't. And a lot of people just don't know how to, and they cave in, on things like sugary things that are very, very addictive. Sugar is one of the most addictive things out there. And when you start mixing it with chocolate and fat and put it into a cookie form or a cake form or a snack form, little Debbie snacks, becomes highly addictive, and willpower becomes difficult at that point. So set up your environment, folks, for success. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Chef on a Mission. This was what episode was this? 75, 76. Where are we at? 75, episode 75. The keys to eating the easy way to eat healthy. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out aromatimebistro.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and VIP Winery Vacations. Travel with us to the most amazing wineries, basically to our friends' wineries in Italy, in Mexico, in New York. VIP wineryvacations.com. Lifetime memories are not optional. And you can find this podcast anywhere that podcasts are played, like iHeart, Apple. Anywhere the podcasts are delivered, you are displayed or downloaded, you should be able to find that there. And there's always a link somewhere on my webpage to go right to the direct source of the podcast and download it yourself. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it, and talk to you later.